to that because we got another great interview with us
Another banger,
today.
don't we?
Man, I tell you, when the person called in, they said they had called for Robert Earl Dean. I said he don't work here no more. We fired him last night, and I said I wanted to make sure they were still gonna do the interview.
God is the only person that can
It,
hire or fire me,
well,
LT.
I believe that, and that's why he manifested you right back here for
Right.
this interview. Man, who we got today?
Oh my God, what can I not say about this young gentleman right here? This dude is he's a singer, he's a musician, he's a producer, he's a choir director. He is what you call a jack of all trades, and he masters them all. None other than the Bay Area's own world renowned Derrick Hall. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, my brother?
Yes, we're so glad to have you on the
Man,
LT
I'm glad
Wake
to
Up
be
Morning
here.
Show.
I tell you, I'm hungry right now. The way y'all described the singing, you said chicken and uh, collard greens. I said, my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. I just wanted to kind of
Glad to be on with you all.
Yes.
yeah, I just kind of wanted to start off the show like I always
Uh
do.
oh.
I got a beef with this brother.
Oh Lord, he got to beef with everybody.
You know
Uh
what I'm
oh.
saying?
Uh oh.
Let me tell you, brother, and I lived up in the Bay Area, brother Hall,
Yes, sir.
for 6 years.
All right.
I played with Lawrence Matthews and
Okay.
James Mitchell and everything else. But every time I try to connect with you, you kept on saying I didn't make the cut and kept on asking me to bring you a two-piece chicken and biscuit
Here
to
we
get
go.
get, get an
Here we
interview.
go.
I just wanted to let you know that I brought that two-piece chicken and biscuit, but I still didn't get an interview.
Maybe God was trying to tell you something.
Oh man.
I think your people was blocking. When they said God blocked it.
I think God blocked it. Forget the people. I think that was a God thing.
Yeah.
No, no, man. We want to welcome you. Anybody from the Bay Area is cool with me. I
Yes.
love the area up there.
Yes.
I went to Mingleton
Man.
Temple Church of God in Christ while I was there.
Oh yes. Oh yes. My
Yeah.
my father used to play the organ for Mingle the Temple Church of God in Christ back in 1975, 76.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, so
The
that's
Pop
it.
Divas.
We're connected, my brother.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, see, look at it. We done made the connection. Beef is over.
Thank you.
I owe him a two-piece again.
Yes.
So go on,
Thank you,
Robert Earl.
Jesus.
Hey, brother, I have had this burning question for years.
Yes, sir.
How did you get to do I Keep Holding On? Got to keep holding on with the Kim Burrell. How did that come about?
And Kim Burrell is my friend. She used to come and stay with her father, who lived in Vallejo at the time,
Hmm.
back in the late 80s, 1987, 88.
Hmm.
And we had a mutual friend, Carmel Wheeler, from the Wheeler family,
Oh,
such a
yes.
gifted, anointed Wheeler
Yes.
family.
Carl Wheeler.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. One of the greatest keyboardist organists ever.
Yes, sir.
And so we would just hang out, you know. Carmel would get the keys to her father's church, and we'd go get in there and play the B3 organ and sing songs and play church, you know. And I had a singing group at the time, and I was a songwriter. My dad wrote songs, so I learned from him, and
Mhm.
I would listen to the gospel greats such as Edwin, Walter Hawkins, Andre Crouch,
Yes.
the Clark sisters, and I was just inspired to write songs. So the Lord blessed me to write as well, and I wrote "I Keep Holding On" back then.
Wow.
So for Kim's first CD project, she called and asked if she could, sing, put that song on her album. It was albums at the time, So I was excited, and told her, go ahead, bless the people
And
with the
boy,
song.
she did it. That's probably
Oh
her
man,
biggest hit today. Got to keep holding on. Excuse
praise
me. Yeah.
God,
Well,
such a gift.
I want to ask because I heard a rumor that when you wrote this song, y'all played it for E40 up in Vallejo because he was coming by trying to get little Jesus, and he told you y'all better keep holding on to that one. Is
Oh God.
any true that
Oh God.
E40 endorsed this one for you?
No truth to that, sir.
Right. That's why we can't believe everything we hear. Amen.
Yeah, amen, amen.
Hey, bro,
But E40's welcome to hear the song. Praise
See,
God.
see,
tell them re-record it for them royalties.
Come on now.
because E40 run that Vallejo area.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes, he does.
Now tell us about your musical journey. When did you first start playing yourself?
I started at my father's church, Grace Baptist Church, East Oakland. Had to be 1982. I was 12 years old,
Wow.
and my dad started teaching me the organ. He would take me to his church before dropping me off to school, and so I would practice, and I learned from him how to play by ear. He'd get on the organ and show me a few chords. First song that I learned was "Amazing Grace,"
Oh yes.
and rest is history, man. I fell in love with music and learning to play the piano and organ, and been doing it ever since.
And you're very
Yes,
sought
sir.
after. You're very sought after in that Bay Area because there's hardly any recordings, independent or from majors, that you're not a part of it in some kind of capacity. So that says a lot about you as a musician and as a writer, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, praise God, brother. Praise God.
Well, you said East Oakland, and I lived on East 14th in Fruitville.
Okay.
Back in the day. So
Yes, sir.
you must got a little street cred that go with you if you was playing in East Oakland. You know what I'm saying? And
I,
I'm gonna drop some names and see if you still rolling with them. Calvin
oh,
Brown.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
What
That's
about?
my brother.
Go ahead.
I'll be playing with him in about 3 hours. We are doing Alan Temple's pre-recorded live stream service this morning.
Okay. So
Wow.
this what I need you to
He's our
do.
bassist.
Wow.
This all I need you to do. When you go to Allen Temple and you see him, just walk up to him and say, "Your brother from San Diego said he's still waiting for that 150 you owe him from back in 19
My goodness.
the other
My
thing.
goodness.
Right.
No, just go up and tell him that LT Leonard Thompson sends love. The Browns, Craig Brown and Ingrid and that whole family
Yeah.
were just amazing while I was up
Great
there.
people, man.
Yeah, those are still my brothers to and sisters to this very day. And in my experience in the Bay Area, what everybody said, what did you love so much about the Bay Area? And it was that the rich music culture was
Yes,
there.
Lord.
And I played trumpet at the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and what I always tell people is that if you missed a session or if you was a few minutes late for a session, there was somebody already there to replace you. It wasn't like
Wow.
you had like in San Diego
Yes.
musicians
It's
become
limited. Very limited.
limited,
Very
but up in
limited.
the Bay Area, everybody plays instruments and they play multiple instruments.
Yes.
And so my
That's correct.
question to you is, um, how did you weed out those that were just doing it for the money versus those that were doing it for the ministry and God just blessed them to make a living?
Well, for me, it's a brotherhood. When we come together and do studio sessions or live recordings or even church services,
Hmm.
you want to be on one accord.
Hmm.
The number one goal is to give God His praise,
Right.
and you can kind of weed out the guys who are in it for themselves
Hmm.
and use that opportunity to talk to them, encourage them, witness to them. But everybody's not going to get it,
Hmm.
you know.
Right.
But I try to work with all musicians, but I really enjoy the connection when we are doing it for the right reason, and that's to give God His praise, honor, and glory.
And that's what he's do, man. And you do a great job at that.
Amen.
How did you
Praise
get how
God.
did you get to work with Edwin Hawkins? Because you were his music director, correct?
That's correct. I was so honored to be his music director for
The
over
legend.
15 years.
The legend.
He had a Bay Area chapter of his seminar
Hmm.
recording that was going to happen back in '91, and I had a friend, Ivan Johnson, who was one of the drummers for this Bay Area chapter for Edwin Hawkins. So he brought me to a rehearsal, and I knew the organist, Maggie Wincher, and so she let me play a few songs. Edwin was there, and he heard me, and that's where it all started, man. I was so grateful.
God, 15 years. Man, you can't get musicians to stay with a church for a year these days. Um, you know, that had to be something to work under such a legend. This was a artist
He sure was.
who went platinum
Yeah.
before platinum was common in gospel,
Come
and
on, come
and
on.
traveled the world. I mean, tell us about some of those experiences being under that leadership.
Oh man, priceless. Edwin was classic. He was a man of integrity, uh, loved the Lord, loved to worship God, and it showed not just in the church, but when we would hang out. You know, like you would say, travel. I had the opportunity to travel to Switzerland with him, Japan, and Lord knows I wouldn't have gone to these places if it wasn't for Edwin Hawkins. We had the Edwin Hawkins seminar in Japan, and kid you not, this was just a rehearsal, but the whole church was packed just for rehearsal.
Wow.
It blew our minds. And we walked in, and the whole church balcony, lower level, was packed with people hungry for God, hungry for gospel music, and Edwin Hawkins.
Because his music was so it was so it is so powerful, even including Walter,
Oh yeah,
the timeless classic hits that never get old, and they go from generation to generation. And did that influence you musically wise as you writing and playing
most
yourself?
definitely, most definitely, most definitely. Even being a musician in my dad's church, the album with "Be Grateful," "Follow Me," "Never Alone," that's
Volume
where I
2,
made the connection with the Hawkins. Yes,
Love of Life
yes,
2.
I was blown away, man. That because it sounds nothing like Amazing Grace. I said, Dad, this is different.
It made gospel cool. It made gospel cool.
Oh man, yes, yes, most definitely. It was a breath of fresh air, great style for us, and at the right time. I loved it. One of the best times in my life.
Well, one of the things about it, you said that you were a PK kid.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of times we hear the rough side of being a PK kid. Can you tell me the bright side for you being a PK kid? Because it appears that you're following in your father's footstep, but you're taking it and putting it on steroids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, when you're young, we think we know, but we don't.
Hmm.
And I was taught to obey my parents. My dad did not spare the rod,
Hmm.
so he would chastise us and he would correct us, but it was for our good. And I understood my father's love. You know, he cared enough for us to tell us we're going to Sunday school or
Hmm.
we're going to church. We
Hmm.
had no choice.
Right.
When he said get up and get ready, we were getting up and getting ready to go to the house of the Lord. And sometimes you get an attitude. You're like, well, I have to always be faithful, always go to vacation Bible school, and my friends are on the block. They're playing and hanging out. But looking back at all that, man, I wouldn't change it a bit.
Yes.
That was God, using my father to teach us the way,
Yes.
Hmm.
and that's what I believe in.
Let me ask you this question: you grew up in the Bay Area. What high school did you go to?
I attended Oakland Tech High School.
Man,
I also
man,
went to
man,
Castlemont for a semester, then transferred to Oakland Tech.
bruh, I worked at both those schools.
Oh
Castlemont,
wow,
Castlemont
wow.
High School. When I went there, they slammed me to the ground and arrested me
Oh
because
Is that
cause,
Lord.
right?
'cause
My goodness.
they thought that I was coming in to deal drugs because I had a briefcase and a tie on. And they
Mm, mm, mm.
and it was like when they told me because I was at the University of California, Berkeley, and they said you're gonna go and mentor some young people at Castlemont High School. I was all excited. Like, I got Castlemont High School. I got Castlemont High School, and everybody at the school was like, really? All right, bless you. And they gave me that look on their face like. You just don't know
Right.
what you're getting, you know. But I said
Right.
I grew up in Southeast San
Come
Diego, you
on.
know. I grew up in the hood.
Yes.
Man, I got
Uh-huh.
down to Castlemont High School, and I
Back
saw a
to the hood.
whole nother hood, and they was real.
Was it like the Compton
Oh,
Centennials and
Yeah,
Carson and Bannings and all
but
them?
you know what's so dope about that
Probably
is
had
that
talent though.
the kids there, as rough as they wanted to be, once you connected with
Hmm.
them, they were brilliant. And that was the
that's
fun
it.
thing about working in Oakland and why I lived in Oakland is because Oakland, with all the negative things they want to say,
Hmm.
the culture and the atmosphere
Amazing.
was just amazing. And
Yes.
for
Most
musicians,
definitely.
Yes.
it was amazing. And so let's just talk about the creativity of your city, bro, because
Yes.
y'all have been dropping hit after hit
Tony,
on the
Tony,
secular
Tony. I mean,
side and on the
Oh man.
gospel. So let's just talk about the history of your
yes.
city and how you're playing a role in it.
Yes.
Well, Oakland has this sound, Power of Power.
Yep.
If you want to take it back,
Yes.
that's where the groove started.
Yes.
And so, Earl, you mentioned Tony.
Yes.
Raphael Sadiq used to attend church with my actually he attended my grandparents' church back in
Yep.
1976.
Wasn't he Church of God
He
in
would
Christ?
come
Yep.
Church of God in Christ.
Come on through,
He
church.
would come with the Wheeler family. Carl would invite him to church,
Yep.
Wow.
and he would bring his Fender bass, and we would be in there having a good time in the Lord, man.
Wow.
I'd be on I'll be on the drums. I was playing the drums at the time, but I couldn't really reach the pedal,
Uh-huh.
so it was a sight to see, man. But we were in there just playing music, and it kept us out of trouble
Yes.
and taught us to love the Lord, and just good music. At the time we would listen to the Hawkins and just blown away, by the sound. But Oakland definitely has a unique sound, gospel as well as R&B.
Was Carlos Santana from there?
I believe so.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And I think he was from
He-
San Francisco.
okay, I know it's
Yeah,
that Bay
but
Area.
still Bay Area,
Hmm.
and
Yes,
there's
yes,
so many
yes.
churches that are just growing out of there. I know that I went to Mingleton Temple and Good Samaritan, but the church that I started really supporting was Bishop Macklin's church in Hayward.
Yes, sir.
They've been doing some great work. Allen Temple is a staple in that
Acts
area.
Church of God in Christ now with David
Exactly.
Act,
Jackson.
Yeah,
oh, yes. Man, you want to hear a crazy story?
yeah, we
Yes.
want to hear.
When my dad was playing for Mingleton Temple, Sly Stone and his family would
Church of
come,
God in Christ.
yep, and sit in the back row
Yep.
and just listen to my dad play
Yeah.
Wow.
and listen to the gospel music and would just be blown away. And that became a part of their sound. I had no clue, but this deacon that used to attend Mingleton Temple, he said, man, your father would be playing that organ and Sly Stone would come in there and just enjoy himself,
Mhm.
and listen to your dad.
Wow.
So that just made me so much prouder. Wow.
Yeah, and I
You know.
remember we were on tour, the Voices of Fulfillment in Oakland, and
Oh yeah.
the drummer from Tony, um, came to play for us, and I don't
Yes.
remember who it was, but I
Tim Riley.
remember
Timothy Riley.
they were saying Tony was like, the Tony's coming to play for us, but it was so common because these were all
Oh yeah.
church kids who
Yep.
developed and trained in church and was able to go work outside of the
That's
quote
it.
unquote gospel music scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome guy. Tim Riley. He can play those drums.
So I'm gonna ask this other question. When I used to be in the Bay Area, right around downtown, there was a place that all the church folks would go after church service, right around the center of Oakland. What's that place called?
Merritt Bakery.
There you go. Is it still around?
Yes. It is.
Uh,
It is.
Was it soul food?
it was just like it was almost like a Denny's, but
Right.
everybody would go there.
That was the spot.
Yeah.
That was the spot. Even gospel artists, when they come to town, James Moore,
Hmm.
after church, you would see James in Merritt Bakery.
And it's still open?
Yeah.
Still open. Yeah.
That must
Still
be
open.
it must be a good place to be open that long.
It's good, but it was almost like you would go to a second and third service because you would meet everybody there.
That was
And
the spot.
yeah, and young and old. Let me ask you this question, my friend. Um, if you were to right now put together a group, uh, dead or alive, who would the singers be and who would the musicians be?
Oh my goodness. Wow. My group to put together, it would have to be Edwin and Walter, Andre Crouch.
Three of my favorites.
Oh yeah. Man, that's a hard one. Let's see. I'm gonna need some altos and sopranos. Jermaine Hawkins.
Yes,
I'm sorry, I'm a Hawkins fan.
I am
Mhm.
too.
Lynette Hawkins Stevens.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
sir.
We could put Kimberell in there.
Okay.
Uh, dude, let's see.
I'm waiting for that big name soprano from the legendary Hawk.
Yeah, Vanessa Bell Armstrong. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. And who's
No,
on the
no, no,
in-
Brenda Roy.
Oh, come on now.
That's the soprantess
Brenda
of
Roy.
all sopranos.
That's it.
So
That's it.
so so who
Please.
who's on the instruments? Who's on the instruments?
Shoot. You'd have to have my boys. Carl Wheeler,
Uh-huh.
Timothy Riley, even uh, the newer guys that are playing now. David
Jackson, yeah, that's the
We got some
MD.
players,
Jennifer
man.
Hudson, yeah.
Yes, yes. Shoot. Where do I stop? There's so many players.
Yeah.
Especially from your area.
We would be, yes, yes. And the thing about it, man, we're one unit, man. You know, and we're getting better at that. You know, you tend to hear how musicians beef with each other and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
kind of trip out, you know, and have their own territory. And to some degree, that's true,
Mhm.
especially for the newer generation. But I feel like it's my duty and ministry to break that curse,
Well,
let them know that we're one,
Yes,
because the common goal is to glorify God,
yes.
amen.
not about us.
Well,
If you want to learn to play piano, I'm gonna teach you the chords that I know. I'm not
Right.
gonna hold back,
Right.
mhm.
because it's for me to pass on to someone else so they can bless, and glorify God.
Now let me let you know this. I went to the University of California, Berkeley, but my introduction to the Bay Area was through choir exchanges. Good Samaritan, Jack's Memorial, and a church
Oh yeah,
out of Las Vegas. We would do on Memorial Day weekend. We would all travel to a city, and they in the church, whatever city we were in, they would host church.
I
And
remember those.
for the whole entire weekend, we would
I remember
wow,
those.
minister from Friday, Saturday,
I
and
remember
Sunday.
those.
That is
awesome.
something that we are trying to get back in the
God,
works.
they used to be awesome.
That's
Looking
it.
for
That's it.
a hold. Now we got San Diego on lock. Now we can get
Yes.
you to lock up Oakland, and we're gonna go for three other cities. We're gonna start doing tour dates with different groups, rolling
I'm with it.
as a team. You with it?
He's been and you've
Yes,
been here. Your group came here for my for a concert I gave years ago. Your
sure
your
did,
group.
and we had a ball. Man.
Yes.
We love San Diego.
Is the group still together? Derrick Hall and
We are.
Company?
We are
Tell us about your group.
working on a new project.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So you gonna let us
Yes,
premiere
yes.
it here first?
Oh, of course,
Yes.
of course.
And brother, tell everybody about a singer that came out of your group that's kind of hot right now.
Oh, you don't have to brag about
Lena Bird Miles.
Yes, Lena Bird Miles came
Yes,
out of his
yes,
camp.
Yeah.
How long
yes,
did she
sure
sing with
did.
you?
He sang with my group over 5 years, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful sister,
So
anointed.
yes.
Oh
So
yeah,
so you can kind of see how your ministry is following in the footsteps of the Hawkins clan because Walter, like
praise
Andre
God.
Crouch, was known
Oh
for
yeah,
developing these groups, and the singers went out and became solo artists, almost like God did with the disciples.
Hmm.
Talk a little bit about that and being in that Bay Area and seeing that on a consistent basis.
oh man, it was such a joy, and at times a little uncomfortable. Edwin Hawkins was a perfectionist to the T,
Hmm.
and with him being a pianist and an organist, and me being an organist and pianist, I was kind of I was on the hot seat.
Yes.
Mhm.
You couldn't come in and play a Hawkins song any way you wanted to.
Hmm.
You had to play the song the way it went.
Wow.
And if you didn't, he would let you know. But it was such a joy to be corrected by him. It teaches me to use discipline, with certain styles of gospel music. Some songs you don't have to change up so much
Hmm.
because the songs work,
Yeah.
and their songs work. You need to play their chords because they are two of the best.
Memorable.
Hmm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And and
Bishop
and and I love the
Walter
fact.
Hawkins and Edwin Hawkins.
I look at that as this really honoring the work. Some people will like say, "Well, I thought this would
That's
be
right.
a better chord." No, I
Mm-mm.
didn't ask you to play a better chord. I wanted you to play it
We
the way
don't
that.
need it.
y-
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because that
Exactly.
song it stood on its own.
but that shows a side of humbleness and respect
Yes.
because a lot of folks will get
Amen.
mad and say, "I ain't gonna do it." But he was like, "Look, I respect you enough to do exactly what you're asking me to do."
Right.
And it's
That's
like
it.
I always tell people, when the pastor get up to, I want you to pray, and you get up there and you preach a sermon, sing a song, and then you pray. That's probably the last time you're
It's
gonna
called
get.
out of order.
Yeah, you just totally out of order.
Right.
So
Right.
That's the old term.
yeah, and now I love Brother Hall that you are training and teaching young men and young
Oh
women
yeah.
how the protocol to grow in the church and
Yes.
in the music field.
Amen. Amen. So important. So important. We have to look out for our church and have a voice. But the key is to do it in love. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of young people don't want you telling them anything, and they think that we're criticizing, but we only want to help. But the key is to do it in love.
Right.
hmm
Now your extension through your family is through your daughter who's following in your footsteps, and she is some singing
Yeah.
sensation. Let's talk about your little daughter who's
Aaliyah.
now a grown
Aaliyah
daughter.
Hall. Yes.
She was a kid when I
Man,
was coming down there to record.
yeah, but that's where it started. She would be in the back of the SUV in the car seat, just humming the songs that I was playing on the radio or on my CDs at
Yep.
the time. Earth, Wind and Fire, or Hawkins, or Thomas Whitfield.
Wow.
She would catch on to the songs and sing as a toddler. So that's what I noticed. I said, wow, God's really going to bless her in this music ministry.
And what is she doing now? Tell us about her project. And I believe you produced, correct?
I produced her first two projects, and now she has a single. She's kind of doing her own thing now, and I'm saluting her. I told her I'll work for you, so you let me know what you need, and I'll come serve you. But she has a single out entitled "Healed."
And you're sending it
She's been
when?
through. It's on iTunes.
I need you to send it to the
Yes.
station because we're a BDS
Okay.
reporting station.
Today. Today.
what,
You will
what's
get it today.
what's the child's name again?
Aaliyah Hall.
Spell Aaliyah,
Aliya.
and it's Hall, and
Yes.
and the time
Hall.
and the song was called what?
Healed.
Oh, praise the Lord. We love to be on the cutting edge of stuff.
Yes, and we're BDS. We're a BDS reporting station. So when she gets played, it sends it right to Nielsen SoundScan.
Yeah, watch this.
Wow.
Watch this right quick.
That's it.
Did you produce this?
Come on, Leah. I didn't produce this one. Yeah, Justin Groff. He helped to produce this song.
Uh-huh. I see. How old is she now?
Aaliyah is 22.
Wow.
That young lady was about uh, 10 years old when I was down there.
Right. Right.
My God.
Time flies, Earl. Yeah, man.
Yes, and I want to appreciate you too, because I was telling them today when we played my quartet song, I Can't Tell It All, that you produced um, for
Yes,
me,
sir.
me and my father before he passed, actually 6 months
Praise God.
before he passed.
Praise God.
And listeners and
Wow.
viewers, I sent him the song in his raw version. The song is by Malcolm Williams of Chicago, the Blood Still Works,
Yes.
the Blood Still Works guy, and
Awesome.
and
brother.
there's
Awesome.
nobody like Jesus. He wrote those two songs, and I Can't Tell It All was a choir song, and I asked
Wow.
Derrick Hall to make it a quartet song. So what you hear is his idea and his talent that went forth on that song,
Love
and
it, man.
it's getting played all across the country.
Love it. Love it. Love working with you and Dad. That's That's special, Earl.
Yeah, he's now gone to
Praise
heaven,
God.
but we have that legacy left, and in its raw
Praise
version,
God.
I played it at his service, and nobody had known
Awesome.
that we had been in the studio to do it, so it was really a
Wow.
a big bang at his service to hear the raw version
Wow.
of it.
God be the glory.
So
Well,
thank
God be
you.
the glory.
well,
Malcolm Williams, he's awesome as well.
Oh
Voice
yes,
and right thing,
churchy man, I
and
love
he's
it.
funny and crazy.
Yes, he is.
well, I'm gonna go back to your daughter.
All right.
We are definitely we believe in legacy and we
Hmm.
believe in independent artists. I want Robert to circle back around with you, and we want to get her in on an interview to help promote
Oh yes, I'm already
uh,
Nice.
working on it.
Nice.
promote her project. Because anytime that a Kingdom Kid is doing something like this, I'm looking at her projects and her presentation,
Yes.
and it makes us
Praise God.
godly proud to see our young people do that. So please know, when you talk to your young adult, let her know that she has a home down here with God Radio
Love
worldwide.
it. Thank you.
Yes,
And
and Derek Hall will always, and I can say this unequivocally because I'm in control of my own music. Derek Hall will always be a part of anything that I do. I would never do any projects without Derek Hall
Thank you, Earl.
being a part.
Thank you, my brother.
You've been loyal to me, and it means a lot to think about how you've I can randomly call you or text you out of nowhere, dude, and you respond immediately, and you act as quick, and that's very rare in this time and day. We talk about the old
Praise
days,
God.
how it was, but man, you are still relevant to what's going on now, and that says a lot about your whole substance.
God be the glory. Thank you. I,
Let,
well,
I, I love God, and I love to keep up with what's happening and stay relevant. I will forever be a student of gospel music and of God, and just want to be used, man.
Well, brother, we're gonna keep on pushing with you.
talk about his new
We're
stuff.
we're gonna work out some additional things that we can work
Hmm.
together on. Can you share with some of your new things that you're doing? And
Yes, he got a
we got a
big
couple of
thing.
songs that we have
Yes,
pulled
there
up.
two selections on the new Ricky Dillard
Yes, say it
Choir
again.
Master
Say it
CD.
again. Say it again. How many songs?
I was able to write two songs.
Two. Dos.
Praise God.
Yes.
I'll trade my worries for worship,
Yes.
and the other song is entitled Lifter.
Well, how can they follow you um, in your career? How can the listeners and viewers follow you?
I'm under Derrick Hall. I'm on iTunes, Facebook, Instagram. Just Googling Derrick Hall, and you'll see me.
Yes.
Yes.
So introduce this new song, I'll Trade, from the Ricky Dillard album.
Oh, man. The song was actually, the title came from me listening to KFAX, a Christian radio station, and this preacher used it as a topic, and I said, "Wow!" And at the time, I needed to hear that the God ministered, the sermon,
Hmm.
and it just stuck with me. So I said, "This needs to be a song
Hmm.
because there's so many people who worry, so many Christians who worry, and worrying is actually a sin. It offends God because He wants us to trust Him. So that's where the song came about. I took the pen out, asked God to give me the words and the melody, and it's a song now.
And I would like to send this out to Miss Darlene Hobson McFadden, my friend's mom that passed Monday. His mom is on here, and I want to send this song out to her.
All right, here we have it. This is "I Trade My Worries for Worship," written by none other
Then
than Derek,
the Derek
and
Hall
on
from
the Ricky
Oakland,
Dillard's new
California.
project. Check it
Yes.
out.
Thank you, bro.
You're welcome, bro.